What if your first day on a case starts in an old hotel with dead people, your own photo on the wall, and a message saying, "Let's talk in room 204"? Yeah, no thank you. Hey everyone, today I'm telling you about my experience playing the brand new Resident Evil Requiem. And let me say this right now, this game did not ask me for permission before attacking my heart. Before we begin, I need to be honest, I am not the one of those legendary old school Resident Evil fans who played every game, read every file and knows the blood type of every zombie in the series. My real story with Resident Evil started with Resident Evil 7. Back then it was too scary for me and I dropped it pretty fast. Then I tried Resident Evil 2 remake and I absolutely fell in love with that game. After that I played Resident Evil 3 remake and Resident Evil 4 remake, then I finally finished Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. And now it's time for Resident Evil 9. For difficulty, I picked normal, modern. In other words, I wanted a fair challenge, not a full emotional collapse in the first 10 minutes. So grab a snack, turn the lights on if you are weak like me, and let's go. The game starts with a girl working on some kind of FBI office. Her name is Grace. She's looking at reports and events connected to Raycon City. You know, the place where everything went horribly wrong in Resident Evil 2. So already the game is telling us, relax, but actually don't relax. Then her boss calls her in. He wants to send her on a case. And just like that, the game really begins. We go to the crime scene in the place called Wrenwood. It looks a bit like New York, and honestly, at first, it looks amazing. Big city vibes, cool atmosphere, everything looks stylish. We learn that there have been strange deaths here, people are disappearing. As I understood, this is already 51st case. 51. At this point, if I lived in this city, I would already move out. I don't care if rent is cheap. If a place gets 51 mystery death, I am not renewing the contract. Then I entered a dark building, maybe this is a hotel. And wow, this game looks beautiful. The kind of beautiful where you stop for a second to admire the lighting, and then a monster uses the second to ruin your life. The game tries to scare me with some larvae and creepy little things, but listen, that's not enough. I played Resident Evil 7, I saw that kitchen. After that, my soul already has a battle damage. Here I get introduced to the inventory. Right away I have pistol and an investigating report. Good, I like when the game says, here's a gun, you will need therapy too, but first take this gun. Then we learn a very interesting detail. All of these victims were survivors from Raycon City. That is a huge detail. That means this is not random. Somebody is targeting people connected to the past. And then I find something that made me feel cold immediately. At the scene, I find my own photo and a key with the word "Let's talk" in room 204. No, absolutely not. If I ever find my own photo in a murder place, I'm leaving so fast I become a side quest in another game. That moment was truly creepy, and from there I could already feel the game starting to play with my nerves. I was getting worried. For Grace, this hotel is even worse, because her mother was murdered here 8 years ago. So this is not just a mission, this place is personal. I find the hotel map, and then I notice something very important. Grace gets scared by everything, every sound, every little movement, every shadow, and because she gets scared, I get scared. Thanks Grace, very cool, love that for us. So I head to the second floor. I entered an old part of the hotel and it's absolutely awful. Everything here looks rotten, forgotten and cursed. I finally reach room 204 and inside the room is full of my photos. Okay, fantastic, great, perfect. Exactly what every person wants to see in horror game. Surprise stalking. Honestly, I was terrifying. Then we get a flashback from 8 years ago. It's the same room. Someone calls, the lights go out, Grace and her mother starts running, but we still do not know who they are running from. Her mother clearly knows something, and this is the one we're running from. Oh no, I meant this is the one we're running from. And then what happens? Grace's mother is killed too. That is such a brutal start. The game wastes no time. No warm up, no maybe it will be fine. No, it just grabs you by the neck and says, "Welcome back." Then we return to the present. In the flashback we saw the Grace's mother hid something behind a painting, so now I need to go back and get it. I find the folder. Inside there is a journal and some kind of strange disc. And then the officer who let me inside shows up, and he's not okay. Very not okay. He caught some infections and suddenly turns into a zombie. After a short fight, that bastard bites me. Amazing! I just got here, I have been in the building for 5 minutes and already I'm somebody's lunch special. But I throw him out the window. So let's be honest, this is Resident Evil. Falling out of window means almost nothing in this series. That is basically just taking a short break. Then I hear music in a room and see a very strange man. A weird man. He says he's the one who made me come here. And then with his hand, he kind of put Grace to sleep. And right after that, Leon Kennedy appears. Cool, calm and stylish. Full action hero mode. The man enters like he knows the camera loves him. Here we learn that the man who knocked Grace out is Victor Gideon, a former T-virus researcher. Leon notices Victor and Grace and starts chasing them. Victor injects something into people and seems to turn them into zombies. And yes, Leon is still Leon. His spin kicks are still here, thanks God. Some traditions must survive. Also, he now has an axe and a new pistol. This man does not arrive empty-handed. He arrives like a one-man problem for every zombie in the room. We lost Victor, but then Leon shows his hand, and it looks bad. Really bad. It looks like some kind of infection. So now I'm thinking, great, the city is a mess, Grace got bitten, Leon may be infected, and I am emotionally getting cooked like cheap hospital soup. Then Grace wakes up. She's hanging upside down, and her blood is being drained. This game really sad. You know what would be fun? Trauma. After a few clever moves, I escape. Then I walk through some dark corridors and wow, this game is scary as hell. Not fake scary, real scary. The kind where you lean forward, stop breathing and check every corner like your life depends on it. Because it probably does. I find the old school typewriter from the series and save the game. That typewriter is not a save point. That machine is my best friend, my lawyer and my emotional support object. Then I get a lighter. So now I can walk in places where there is no light. And let me tell you, that did not make me feel better at all. Here, take this tiny flame and go into the dark hell hallway. Thank you, wonderful pain. I'm looking for a screwdriver and instead I find that thing. A monster nurse. I don't know who designed this creature, but I hope they are banned from cooking forever. I somehow ran away with my slow little panic jog. You know that one. Not fast enough to feel safe, but just fast enough to look stupid. Still I managed to get screwdriver. I use it to open the door. I barely reach it. I opened it and that thing pulls me back. Fantastic. Love progress. I open one door and then the game says actually no, get back in the nightmare. Then we return to Leon. He enters the same hospital where Grace is trapped, but now the game's turned into a party, a terrible bloody party, but still a party. Leon shoots a few zombies and then he grabs a chainsaw. A chainsaw. At this point I was like, okay, Grace is playing a survival horror, but Leon is playing everyone in the building is about to have a very bad day. Leon moves forward and sees the moment when the monster catches Grace. Like a real hero, he helps her, a few good shots, and the nurse monster drops. But the happiness lasts for about 3 seconds, because then a cage closes and separates them again. Classic Resident Evil. The game sees two characters near each other and immediately says, no, friendship denied. Then Leon meets Victor, and Victor knocks out Leon. Cool, nice, guys. Okay, now we continue as Grace. While searching for a way out of hospital, I found a cage with a little girl inside. Then I find an access card to the west wing. So basically, this hospital has centrum rooms, west and east wings, and 3 floors. So I go west wing. I enter the kitchen with a butcher. Of course there is a butcher. This hospital apparently offers murder, zombies, And now cooking content too. I trick that idiot and move forward. Then I find a tiny little blade, basically a toothpick. And I'm like, how exactly am I supposed to fight zombies with this? Am I going to politely ask them to die? Still, I stab the fool and continue. Then I walk into a full zombie feast. I find a pistol and use it a bit, but ammo is very low. Resident Evil ammo is always like this. The game gives you 6 bullets and says try to kill 10 zombies with it. I find cords in an office on the second floor to open the way forward. Then, after solving a small puzzle, I get one of these 3 stones I need to open the door to the garden. I also spent money to get a bag, which honestly felt amazing. In Resident Evil, a bigger bag feels better than winning a lottery. I get a key to the east wing from the doctor and open the door. Then I find an hemolytic injector, and now I can kill zombies with 1 injection. That's a really cool mechanic. I also find a blood collector. With it I can collect infected blood and use it for crafting. Honestly, that's a fun new mechanic. And I have to say this, I really like how the game mixes horror with grace and action with Leon. With grace, I check every corner and whisper, please no. With Leon, I walk in like, good evening, who wants to die? In the east wing, I also find a box with another one of the 3 stones I need. The passport was easy to guess from the photos, but to open the lock, I needed some kind of bottle from the conference room. And on the way there, I got scared out of my mind by another monster. I think this thing and the nurse were the scariest moments so far, no joke. My soul left the room for 1 second, and then came back with a complaint. I avoided it and keep going to the conference room. There I also find a bracelet with an access 1, so now I can open certain doors. I take the bottle, go back to get the stone, and then Victor appears. He says, you are unique, because my master made you who you are. What does it even mean? Sir, can you please stop talking like a final exam questions? Luckily, I managed to escape Victor. I open the box, enter the password and take the stone. Then I also find instructions for opening an urgent transport box. After that, I spent all my coins in the game machines and get steroids for a permanent max HP increase and stabilizer for more damage and better aiming, also permanent. By the way, the inventory management here is a challenge by itself. Half of the horror is monster and the other half is inventory management. Also, this whole location reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 2, like the police station. Same feeling of learning the map, unlocking doors, returning to old rooms, and suffering in style. In the garage I find the organ transport container. I already found the instruction earlier, so opening it was easy. Of course, getting back out is not easy. Also, I meet new type of zombie. This one is pretty fast. I put a ton of bullets into him and he's still alive. In the end, I had to use a round from my super pistol to kill him. And of course, I did not even hit perfectly the first time. So yes, even with a strong weapon, I still aim like a man whose hands are powered by fear. Then I find a heart in the freezer. I put it into a corpse, then I shoot that corpse, and I get a level 2 access bracelet. Then I use the bracelet to enter the isolation ward. There I find the security manager's room, where the 3rd stone should be. I also find a level 3 access bracelet. But I still cannot take the stone, because I can see which buttons I need, so it looks like I must go free that little girl from the prison cell. I go there, open it, ask for her help, and she agrees. I carry her through all this monster to the bottom panel. While this little girl opens the box for me, I have to protect her from zombies. And somehow, at some point, my pistol disappeared. Just gone. I was like, where did it go? Did a zombie steal it or something? So I had to do everything with my strong pistol instead. And I did it. Then the girl gets the stone for me, but right at that moment, the monster, yes, that nurse again, breaks in and takes her. And then I suddenly realized, maybe I accidentally put my normal pistol into the storage box. So before running after the girl, I go back and check, and yes, my pistol is there. I put it there myself. I'm an idiot. Absolute professional gameplay. Then Grace goes after the girl and I switch to Leon. He escapes from the doctor and now we are on the 3rd floor of the hospital. Here Leon gets a shotgun immediately and we also meet the same monster that was terrorizing Grace before. Leon deals with it easily. That is what I mean about these two gameplay styles. When you play as a Grace, every hallway feels like a funeral waiting room. When you play as Leon, it feels like the zombies are trapped in the room with him. I search for Victor's office and meet a few enhanced zombies on the way. Honestly, the enhanced zombies are not a big problem, and the normal zombies almost feel like background decoration when Leon is around. Then Leon enters the secret elevator. There he finds a Victor's computer, hack it, and learn that his symptoms are from the T-virus. So yes, Leon is really infected. And it looks like not only him, but his partner too. That is bad, very bad. And then we switch back to Grace. Grace finds the little girl again, but the monster locked her in the cage. Now I have to play with electricity, turning things on and off and moving around these batteries. And that creature runs above me and jumps down from the top. At that moment, I felt like I was playing Alien Isolation. I had a very fun attraction with zombies here. And by fun I meant I suffered, I screamed. I collect all 3 batteries and now I need to put them into one place. I nearly died in real life at this moment. The gates open, I run to save the little girl, we reach the elevator and finally we escape this cursed place. But because that monster climbs into the elevator with us and grabs my leg, the elevator crashes down and Grace almost breaks her leg, but luckily she's okay. And after that I finally get my 3rd piece to open the way to the garden. I upgraded a bit, shooting twice and health once. At this point it feels like we are done with this location. Now we move to the garden. By the way, if you're enjoying this story and you want me to continue, drop a like, subscribe and write in the comment which moment scared you the most. Was it room 204, the nurse, that fat monster, or the moment I lost my own pistol because my brain took a vacation? Now, let's keep going, because things get even crazier. In the garden I find a helicopter and the pilot. The pilot says he could take us out of here, but he does not have the keys. Of course, so I need to go into the house and get them for him. Inside the house I find a secret passage, and under it there is some kind of underground laboratory which looks like a place where they research the T-virus. By the way, the special feature of the T-virus in this game is that the victims retain their identity. I find the helicopter keys, but I already know one thing for sure. There is no way this game lets me leave that easily. Then I find a Victor. He's talking to someone and he says that Grace is exactly the one they are looking for, and the blood analysis proves it. That is a huge reveal. What exactly does that mean? Why is Grace special? Why is her blood so important? At this point I had more questions than ammo. Then the self-destruct protocol activates. Everything starts to get destroyed and my elevator is gone. Looks like Victor used it to go up himself. So now I have to fight through crafts of zombies to escape. I even use some kind of fire extinguisher, but against zombies. I finally break my way outside and run to the helicopter, but there are zombies everywhere. We start the helicopter, we barely take off, and because there are too many zombies, we lose the control and crash. Perfect! Great flight, 5 stars, very smooth landing if you hate bones. Then gameplay switches to Leon, who who sees the helicopter crash. Using a sniper rifle I help Grace reach the church, and then Leon goes there too. I send Grace and the little girl forward to safely, while Leon stays behind to hold off the zombies. Then a huge brute appears. And I think, okay, for Leon this should be easy. Well, not exactly easy. It was not super simple, but I did it. Because Leon plus a gun usually equals a bad day for monsters. Then we switch back to Grace. She's somewhere in the basement and now I need to get back up to the surface. And then the cursed nurse appears again. At this point I was tired of that creature. We were not enemies anymore. We were in a toxic relationship. It looks like I can open the roof and kill that thing. To open the roof I need to restore power by activating these power distribution units. So I doing that while carefully distracting the monster. Sneak here, turn this on, run away, breathe badly, repeat. With some trick moves I managed to restore the power. And then the roof opens, the creature dies, and all that is left is... well, what is left? Honestly, I'm still not fully sure it's dead forever. This is Resident Evil. If a monster dies too cleanly, I get suspicions. Then I return to Emily, that little girl, and she is unconscious. Grace tries to save her, but it does not go well. Emily turns into a big monster. And right on time Leon arrives and saves Grace. The monster has to be shot down. At the same time, Leon's symptoms are getting worse. He's even coughing blood now, so the situation is getting darker and darker. Grace is disappointed and broken by everything that happened, and she walks toward the exit. But the Victor meets her there and says this is exactly where they were waiting for her. So this was planned. And then another new mysterious character appears. Now the story gets even more interesting. And then we get a shot of Leon going to search for Grace. And where is he going? Raccoon City, the place where all of this began. That's such a strong ending for this part. It brings everything back to the root of the series and it makes me really want to keep playing. So that was the experience with my first big part of Resident Evil Requiem. And I have to say, this game is really good. I love how they mix two different gameplay styles. Grace gives us fear, tension, darkness, slow steps and constant panic. Leon gives us action, confidence, power, and that feels of okay, now it's your turn to be scared. That combination works so well. If I have one small complaint so far, it's that I wanted a few more puzzles like in the older games. But honestly, the strong parts of this game cover that weakness for me. The atmosphere is amazing, the horror is strong, the action is fun, the story has a mystery, and the connections to Raccoon City makes everything even more interesting. And here is my favorite little fact. I did not die even once. Yes, not once. Somehow, I was scared, confused, beaten, chased, almost kidnapped by every monster in the building, lost my own pistol like a genius, but I still did not die. That might actually be my personal greatest achievement. So if you want the next part, make sure like this video, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments if you think Grace is really special because of your blood or something else, but just your thoughts without any spoilers. And what do you think Victor meant by my master made you who you are? Thanks for watching, and remember, in Resident Evil, if somebody invites you to room 204, you do not go. You leave the city, you delete your number, and maybe you move to another planet. See you in the next part.